Hey guys, what is up? It's Adam here. We got another question from Jason Payne, and he asks, how is the gig economy impacting more traditional hourly jobs? Well, so this is what I would have to say with that, and I'm probably gonna get shit for this. I don't know, but so I'm gonna hit this question from three different perspectives, maybe four. Okay, so as a kid, when I would have a normal hourly job, like at a restaurant or at the deli I worked doing like bait and tackle and renting boats. And so that was it was 20 years ago. No, 23 years ago for most of that, 20 years, let's just say 20 years ago, okay? So I was making like $10 an hour, or maybe even a little bit less. But, I used to think at the time, that was all right. And, you'd have to wake up I used to have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, get to the boat rental place at 5:30, open up, do all this stuff. And then I would also maybe DJ at night. So I was burning both sides of the candles. And again, the DJing stuff was definitely more per hour, but obviously not that much time. So, we're talking at the end of the day, maybe I was making $100 a day or so like that. And, as a kid, it's pretty cool. But that said, it was always so difficult to increase your price, because you would have to get a raise, and if you got a raise, what are they going to add, $1, $2, and that type of thing, so maybe you're making 12, and now you're crushing it, right? And that changes everything. And kind of fast forward, when I owned restaurants in my 20s, and all my workers, my staff, they were all hourly rate, hourly wage. With the exception of maybe my managers who were on salary. But at the end of the day, if you're working 40 hours and just divide by 40, it's not a crazy amount that we were paying because we couldn't afford it per hour. And, it used to break my heart that we would get asked for raises and we just couldn't budget it. We lost money a lot of months because, we had a high payroll and we always had to pay out before we got paid because there needed to be money in the bank to pay people. So it's a real struggle, and increasing that wage is not as easy as people think. They think that, oh, you're a restaurant owner, you must be killing it, but it's just not the case. And if everybody, I know now it's $15 an hour is the minimum wage that they're pushing for. And while that in some aspects seems a lot, because it would be a significant increase for some people. And at the same time, that significant increase is going to severely impact some types of businesses. And, you're most likely going to see price raises and things like that. But some industries won't be able to hang with increasing their price, and they're probably going to fail. So I don't know. I'm not an economist. I don't know how that whole thing's going to play out. But, what I do know is I think the gig economy is in a whole different ballpark. And personally, I think it empowers people on a mass scale on a whole new level because, you don't have to worry now about asking your boss for a raise. You can go in now and say, this is my price. So I think that shift in mindset and empowering the individual and say, hey, this is what my time's worth. And you're either going to pay it or I'm going to find someone else to pay it. So if you're good at what you do and you can have your service being offered to many different people, you can be selective, and your selection could be based on how much money you're going to receive. So you could now say, hey, I want the 15 and I'm asking 15. If you don't want to pay, I'm moving on to the next. And when I started freelancing and doing more of the gig economy, I was pretty amped about being able to do that, because again, I was always, even as a restaurant owner, if you broke down the hourly rate, it was a joke. And so, I felt empowered, and I started doing like graphic design stuff and different menu builds for businesses, and I was like, hey, this is my hourly rate. And when they paid, I was like, wow, this is dope. This is a lot more dope than what I was doing, and it was, my time was worth more, and that was very satisfying. And then after that, some of these platforms opened up, and it was great because I could find, I started out on Upwork actually as a client who was buying freelancers' times and their gigs, and I saw the range of what people requested. Some of the jobs entry level that we were doing, like data processing and data entry and stuff like that, it was on the low side. But then I also saw that there were these consultants, making bank and working with like platforms that were pretty complex, and that was like, holy geez, like these guys are able to charge whatever they want, and they're able to justify that with different ROIs, return on investments. And in the online world, it's like, well, if you're going to spend 100 and make 110, and you don't have to worry about inventory or any of that stuff, like you're going to do that all day. And then for me, it was like a global shift that happened, like to take things that I knew beyond like graphic design and these types of jobs where it just kind of started and finished, and bring all of like my marketing expertise in that, combine it, learn about automation, start getting experience with some of the higher end platforms. And I was just so surprised what you could then charge with confidence, and seeing that you can learn most of the stuff that I learned online with some courses and YouTube and wherever you want. You could take that empowerment and then justify charging so much more beyond that $15 an hour minimum wage, that I look at the typical hourly wage job as a joke right now. And at the same time, people are like, oh, I don't have the time to look for other work and blah, blah, blah. And, it's at this point, I'd have to say that you're full of shit. You're full of shit, because you could easily spend a half an hour or an hour, instead of, going to bed, maybe just stay up for half an hour or an hour longer and watch maybe a YouTube video on a platform, or, learn WordPress, or learn like Divi, which, these are simple things. Learning how to write, learning how to, these things are all out there. Every single thing you can imagine. There's some dude or a girl who, made a video about how to know stuff better. Because they're ultimately in their, in their journey. So if your journey is just to show up at work and make minimum wage, well, I think that you're really selling yourself short. And if you're telling me that you can't find a half an hour a day to better yourself and learn something, like think about the accumulation of what that would be after a month. If you had 30 hours of training per month, that you could then use that and leverage and use a site like Upwork, or Freelancer, or TopTal, or Fiverr, or whatever you want, to then be able to charge 4 to 5 more times than minimum wage. What's preventing you from doing that? Really, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but you need to start being honest with yourself, because I think that kind of begging a boss who doesn't have the money in the first place at some restaurant is not helpful for you. It's not helpful for your boss. It's not helpful for your boss's company. And the funniest thing I find is the people that spend all their time protesting stuff like this. Like, you're literally wasting, and I know you don't think you're wasting, but you're certainly not educating yourself more. You're certainly not increasing your potential wisdom in anything. I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, you're not. Do you think that learning how to protest is a skill set? I mean, come on. Not when there's the opportunity cost of actually developing a true skill set in something that you're actually interested in, and then applying that love and passion to help a business owner like make more money and then justify paying you. Like, they need to, in order to make you more money, they need to make more money. I mean, that's just how business works. I mean, you can't pay something out of nothing. You can't take blood from a stone. And ultimately, if you sink the business, then there's nothing, there's no more, nothing, everybody's dead. It's just a dead corpse. There's no life. So is that your ultimate plan, just to make corpses out of businesses? It's not helpful. I'm able to sell my services to clients better because I could justify a return on investment. And it's all about the ROI. And if you can do that, you can charge whatever you want. So instead of taking the time to curse the system and cry about shit, just use that time, use that energy, and watch a video, read a book, read an article or a blog. Just figure out, like, did I learn more from viewing this or watching this or listening to this? I mean, fuck, like, there's podcasts that you could just have an AirPod in your ear while you're at work and learn something. You could learn this stuff passively. I'm always like just listening to a book or, you know, a podcast while I'm walking my dog or doing something. Just make time for that. And if you can't make time for that, you know, I have kids. I have a lot of work. I got life. I mean, come on. Jesus, like, don't keep making excuses for yourself. Learn more, and the more you learn, the more you'll earn. And especially if you learn about stuff that you're passionate about, and that you can convey that passion to helping, you know, a business or a person succeed more. There's so many people out there starting businesses, so many entrepreneurs, so many companies being built that need people that are passionate about you know, what they do, and if they can bring like things to the table that will ultimately help that business. Like I was saying before, if they're gonna make 110 off of paying 100, they're gonna do that all day. They can justify that. So I hope that answers your question. Hey, if you hate what I said, write a comment and we can talk it out. But you know, I'm coming at it from the fourth perspective is hiring people, and I think I mentioned this, is hiring other consultants and stuff like that on Upwork. I'm not just a consultant on my end charging people, but I'm also paying for other people's expertise all the time. And again, if they're able to justify that and help my business, then I'm going to pay that all the time. And these are people in all walks of life, in all corners of the world, and I just click with them, and I know that they can help me, and that's why I feel good, you know, paying them for their service. So again, it's kind of coming at this question from 4 different perspectives. I will never fucking go back to an hourly job where I have to travel and you know, and beg my boss for a raise. It'll just fucking never happen. So if that's your life, that's more power to you. But I'm just, you know, maybe I ate the forbidden fruit or what, but I prefer not being anchored to one location on this earth. I believe in traveling and building a perspective and, you know, having new experiences and learning new things and applying that love to the work that I do. And as someone that's been on the other side, I will never fucking go back. So again, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Again, this question has, how is the gig economy impacting more traditional hourly jobs? Did my best in answering this. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.